Welcome back to the huddle. Conversations of the mind. It's funny, growing up in South Central Los Angeles, being a 70s baby, we didn't have the heroes, the typical heroes that most people across the world have. You know, most of my friends when I got to college, they grew up and their heroes were Superman, Spider-Man, dudes like that. And then me coming up, my heroes were people that I saw myself in. And my heroes were black men that defied the odds, and their success was showed, and we could see how successful that they were. My parents worked a 9 to 5, but I never saw $100 bill. I never saw excess of money, but they were working people. But then I had certain people that we looked up that were legends, and they had it all. So we thought. It was gentlemen like Tootie Reese. It was gentlemen like Waterhead Bo. It was dudes like Daff. It was dudes like, the name goes on, but one of the most legendary of them all is a gentleman named Freeway Rick Ross. And I'm proud to say that I have him on the show. Welcome, brother.
Glad to be here. How you feeling?
Man, I'm good, man. It's just amazing when you're able to sit across from a legend and someone whose reputation is bigger than, you could even imagine. We see all these TV shows now, and we see how the culture was created, and we see all these people that that they say influence the culture, and I don't think there's too many people that have influenced the culture such as yourself.
Yeah, it's just sad that Hollywood don't recognize the contribution that we did to society, right or wrong. It still should be respected for what it is.
It's a part of our history.
It's a part of our history. It happened. Was it good? Was it bad? Not necessarily. Either or. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But at the same time, if you're going out and you're doing shows like Snowfall, and then you don't consult with the people who live those lives, I think it's definitely a miscarriage of reality, but it's also a disrespect for history.
It's a disrespect for history. So you're a few years older than me, and I was born in the 70s, and you were born in the 60s, correct?
Correct.
And in the 60s, you had the Black Power movement, where it was people
Black Panthers,
and everybody was proud to be black, and it was this. But then I read somewhere the other day, and it was saying how because the Black Power movement was so powerful, the powers that be created these movies on the silver screen called the Black exploitation films. And these films, instead of pushing the black is powerful, black is beautiful, they began to put images out there like the Mac and Superfly and these Black exploitation films. Do you think that was where the shift took place in our culture?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of us get our information from radio, TV, homeboy at the liquor store, the barber. So when you're looking at the places that we're more likely to get information from, you can see why Black's exploitation films and records, played a role in our destiny.
Do you remember the first time what was the first one you saw? Out of all those black movies, was it Black Caesar?
I don't remember the first one, but I saw all of them. I had an older cousin who was about 3 or 4 years older than I was, and he took us to the movies all the time. That was his way of
spending
time with us and helping us, grow up and become men, was to take us to those movies. And I can't tell you that I didn't love every one of them. The Mac, Superfly.
How did you?
I became Superfly.
That's what I'm saying.
I love Superfly so much.
Do you think it was something? There was an effect that it had on you in the movies? Because I remember seeing my father, who he worked a 9 to 5, man, and he did jobs. And later on I respected the game, but when I was a kid, my father didn't have the cars. He didn't have the women. He didn't have the jewelry. He had a good life, but it wasn't what it was. But then when I saw those movies, it was just like, man, I don't want to. It's a scene in one of the skits in The Chronic. It was like, it's like, well, son, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a gangster, because it's limited vision. All we see is the the symbols of success that are represented. But the crazy thing, what I thought about you is you weren't that guy. You were a guy that even when you saw you as a kid, you weren't the flashy dude that jumped out of the Rolls Royce and with the chains on and that thing, but you probably had more money than the dudes that did.
Yeah. Well, I started to function, and I wanted those things when I first started.
So you did want those?
Oh yeah, when I first started, I wanted a Cadillac. I wanted a gold change. But as I started to grow in my knowledge and my information, I started to look at it and be like, if you dress like that, you're gonna be an easy target for the police. You're gonna be an easy target for the jackers. Everybody gonna see you coming. You're gonna have drug dealer written all over your forehead. And being a drug dealer was not something that I was necessarily proud of. I wasn't like jumping up and down because I was a drug dealer. No, I wanted to be a tennis player. I mean, one time I wanted to be a police officer. So becoming a drug dealer was kind of like a different lane for me.
When did that shift take place, though? Because I know we all grow up, in the way we grew up, we all have visions of ourselves as those things, those childhood
Everybody
things.
Want to be the good guy.
But then
in
at what
reality,
point did it shift to where you were like, man, that ain't me. This is what I'm going to do, and this is my lot. Let me
I was almost forced into my role. I don't necessarily think that I actually picked my role per se. I accepted it with open arms. But it wasn't, if somebody would have told me, a couple weeks before I became a drug dealer, that I was going to be a drug dealer, I would have laughed at them. I'd been like, you crazy. I know absolutely nothing about drugs. I never smoked weed, never drunk beer, never drunk alcohol. Most maybe a spike punch at a party or something, you know. So if they would have told me that, oh, you're going to become a drug kingpin, I'd have been rolling over on the floor. But what happened is life hit me. And I found myself in what we call in tennis in no man's land, where you're in a position where you can't really do anything. You're not making any moves. You're basically sinking. And that's the position that I felt I was in. I was sitting on my mom's porch one day and no money, no,
like all of us,
no clue about what my next move was going to be. I got denied going to college because I couldn't read or write.
What neighborhood did you grow up in?
87 in Figueroa.
Were you from a neighborhood, or you just were always neutral?
Well, when I was about 9 or 10, I wanted to be a Crip. But after I started playing tennis, and when my tennis career was over, I was 18 years old. I could think then.
But there's a lot of neighborhoods that claim you. A lot of people say that you're theirs.
Yeah.
And a lot of neighborhoods claim you. So even if you weren't from somewhere, it's funny how some people claim neighborhoods. It's neighborhoods that claim you. When they doing their promotional advertisements, they be like, well,
I already know when I was in the joint, the Hoover Crips, they surrounded me, they put a blanket around me. And I grew up with them, I grew up with those guys. We went to elementary, junior, high school together. My brothers and sisters were Hoover Crips. But I never saw myself, like I said, when my tennis career was over, I was 18 years old, but I was a thinking 18-year-old, if I was going to go to jail for something, it was going to be for something that was going to benefit me. Or if I was going to do something, it was going to be something that was going to benefit me. I couldn't see myself fighting somebody over a color of a rag or a shoe or clothes or what street they stayed on.
But when the dope era took place, from my vantage point, it was always, you had everybody that had a different role in the game or in the neighborhood. And you had the smart dudes that were sharp and they were on top of stuff. But then you had the muscle, which was the gangbangers, where the gangbangers had a role because they helped keep everything running and help protect the main dude that was making money. But then you had the dudes that just would get the girls and was the player. It's kind of like Mac 10, Ice Cube, and Dub C had the group Westside Connect. In the hood, everybody had a different role. How did you find your role? You knew you were smarter than everybody else?
Nah, I never really thought I was smart.
Really?
Nah, I never did. I thought I was dumb.
That's crazy because most of the people that talk about you say the reason that you were successful was you were a genius.
Yeah, well, I mean, genius is described a lot of different ways. Like you could be a genius in one thing, and then in another thing you could be a fool.
Perspective.
This episode is brought to you by Harold and Belle's, LA's legendary Creole kitchen, serving up soulful flavors since 1969. Whether you're craving classic jambalaya, crispy catfish, or a warm bowl of gumbo, Harold and Belle's delivers Southern hospitality with every bite. Dine in, take out, or let us cater your next celebration. Stop by and experience a true taste of New Orleans, only at Harold and Belle's.
So in school, which is what I was judging by, how well I did in school, which, I couldn't read or write. So you automatically know if you can't read or write, you're not going to do well in school. It was only when I got into the drug business that I had learned, and my mom used to say even when I was a kid that I was the ringleader, of all my
People
siblings.
follow you.
Yeah, my cousins and my brothers and everybody followed me. So my mom called me the ringleader, and it was only after tennis was over that I found out that I had these organizing skills, and I just had to figure out what did I use these organizing skills for. Should I use them for gangbanging, robbing? Because I had a group of guys that probably would have followed me if I would have wanted to gangbang. If I wanted to be a robber, if I wanted to burglarize houses, they would have went with me, So, because they did go. When I started stealing cars, they were my car crew.
Because that's how you got started.
That's how I got started. So I did have the power to decide what my group was going to be doing. And, I felt it was my job to, one, keep them safe and keep them out of jail.
That's dope. And that's what you did for the most part, because when you came up, I got a question. And this is the one that I've been itching to do. So, like, I want to play golf. And all my boys are playing golf right now. And in golf, they say, the dude told me, he said, take some lessons because you could pick up some bad habits, and it's harder to break a bad habit than it is to start without one. So get some instruction so that you can learn how to play without the bad habits. So I was like, cool. So then in me thinking about this interview, I thought about it like this. I said, so what qualities do you think that you had in the hustle that hurt you in life? Or in being successful in legitimate business?
Well, that's a tough one there, huh? Well, I credit legitimate business and hustling with almost identical. The same things that work in hustling on the street work in legit business. The difference is that with most black men, especially coming up, where do you learn about business at? Say for instance, when I wanted to buy my first piece of property, there was nobody in my neighborhood that could tell me how to buy a piece of property. They just didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't have a clue.
You're
So,
right.
but now everybody on the block could tell you how to sell some cocaine. Where to get it
Where to
at,
get
who
it,
had
how to
it,
get it,
how much
yeah.
it was going to cost
Or
you.
if you wanted a car, they can tell you how to get a car. It's little things they can tell you how to get.
Right.
There's certain things that they couldn't.
They didn't have that knowledge. So that knowledge just wasn't. It's still not in our community right now. The average kid, if he wants to know how to go and get a loan, there's very few people in the community that can teach him how to get a loan.
It's funny that you say that. My daughter goes to Hamilton High School, and my business partner, his son, goes to Beverly Hills High School. And at Beverly Hills High School, they have a finance class to where they're teaching these kids the value of money. Hamilton High School, it ain't no such thing. But it's just funny. Different areas teach different things. So you're right.
Right. And then so with us, we come up more than likely with single parents,
and figuring it out as we go.
And you got to figure it out. But who do you figure it out from? You can only do what you see while I was in prison.
But you need to tell me, like, with all this money the money that you had and the money that was coming through, you didn't have nobody that you could talk to that would show you how to invest and things to do with the money that you were making?
Well, they started to come after you start having money. I'm talking about
how do you trust them?
I'm talking about how do you do that before you have money? Because say for you walk up, more than likely, you walk up to somebody that's doing good in real estate, they're driving a brand new car, and here you are, a 17, 18-year-old kid, you probably a little dusty, your clothes ain't the best. They might think you're going to try to rob them. The first thing coming in their mind, what does he want?
What does he want from
is he going to try to hurt me? So when you're dealing with those situations, people just don't come up and give you information. But once you start having money, then you can buy information.
It opens a whole bunch of doors.
Absolutely. Money opens doors.
Yeah.
People will be more willing to talk, especially if you're willing like I was. I was willing to pay for information. I learned at a young age playing tennis. Tennis really helped me a lot. I had to pay for my own tennis lessons. So I understood that if I
paid for your own lessons?
I used to pay for my own tennis lessons,
oh,
yeah.
Wow. And how old were you when you were paying for those lessons?
16, 17 years old.
And it meant that much to you that you could do it. Instead of just playing for the high school, you wanted to have lessons on top of that.
Well, I understood. I was lucky. When I started playing tennis, my friends were already ranked. They were already, colleges was already looking at them. They were on their way. They were well on their way already. So what I did is I was able to see what they were doing and what they were going through. They had sponsors, so I understood what it took, from watching them. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I found out about myself is that I'm a copycat, and
so you're not the Picasso that's just gonna paint on your own, but you'll trace like a mug.
Yeah, I can. If you throw the Picasso up there, I can copy it. I'll copy it where it looks down there just like the Picasso, and sometimes you get lucky and do it even better.
Yeah, you put your own spin on it.
So really, what I did, even in school, I was thinking, man, how was I able to keep passing through school? Well, I found out, find the right person and copy their page and get a good grade on this report. You need this report, so get this report done, and the teacher's gonna pass you. So I took that. And those skills were transferable in business, So when I started selling cocaine, I copied the guys that was doing it right. The guys that I see that wasn't doing it right, I don't do what they do, And I came up with my own game plan from there, and
took it to another level.
Took it to another level.
Yeah, and it's just amazing the things that you were able to achieve. But the thing that I got from it was like, if you could be so successful in that, can that successful transition into other endeavors?
It really already has.
I mean, but back then, not now, but back then when you were in the game, did you see an out, or you weren't even thinking about outs?
I saw outs, but the thing that I was doing wrong is that, you heard of the thing, you can't worship two gods? Well, I had 3 or 4. I would do real estate, but I was still selling dope. I would do some music, but I'm still selling dope. I would do cars, but I'm still selling dope. I do houses, but I'm still selling dope. I do junkyards, but I'm still selling dope. So all the time, everything that I did, it still had that dope tied to it. It wasn't where I went cold turkey. Did
you ever set those goals for yourself? Like, I have friends that were in the game. They'd be like, after I make my first 100,000, I'm done. And then they make that 100,000, and they'd be like, well, my first 500,000. And then once you get to 1 million, I'm done. But it just keeps going, because what else are you going to do? And this, the unknown is scary, because even with all the bullshit that goes along with the hustle, it's still, it. Whereas that other game, you don't know, and you feel like people can take advantage of your ignorance.
Yeah, we all set those goals. My first goal was $5,000.
$5,000?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to make.
Oh, wow.
I was broke. When I came up, I didn't have enough money to put gas in my car. When gas was like 50 cents a gallon, we used to have to go steal gas. So
how do you steal gas, bro?
With a siphon hose.
Y'all was siphoning the gas?
Yeah, we go siphon gas out of people's cars.
Oh,
You know, I'd be
hilarious.
standing on the sides with a hose, and my guy would be watching out, and I
And
would.
you put it in a jug or something, then just pour it in somebody else's tank?
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes.
Man, we've come a long way, haven't we?
Unbelievable.
Man, it's just crazy. When you think about it, though, it's like the hardest thing to me, they said the hardest thing in professional sports is to hit a pitch from a major league pitcher because the balls are going so fast. But for me, the hardest thing, and growing up in the hood, the hardest thing for me to see somebody succeed at is getting out of the game, because the game is just so addictive. And then even dudes that say they get out. I mean, it's kind of like you say, the alcoholic says, I'll never drink again after the hangover. But how many times do they go right back to doing it?
Yeah, you're right. Getting out is always tough. My first goal was 5,000. Then went to 20. Then it went to 100. And then it went to, I'm not going to quit until I'm set, you know.
What's ever set? Like, what's set?
Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, who knows? But I was planning on doing it. You know, that's why I was building motels, and I was looking for ways to generate the kind of money that I was generating in the drug business.
Did you almost make it? Had you ever almost been there?
Nah, I mean, I made enough money where I should have had quit, you know, a few times, you know, doing real estate. I should do $300,000-$400,000 a year doing real estate.
Oh, wow.
The motel, when I first built my motel, when I ran it myself, it was doing like $5,000 a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was back in the late 80s?
Yeah. In the late 80s. No, early 80s.
Oh, early 80s.
These are, yeah, like 82, 83.
But when Tootie and them were doing their thing, they were a little bit ahead of you, right?
Tootie was one of the guys I looked up to.
Yeah, because his son TR, me and TR grew up together. So, but Tootie was a little bit ahead of you.
He was.
Okay, and then you and Harry O and Waterhead and all of them are sort of in the same.
They come
class.
after me.
Oh, they all come after you.
Mm-hmm.
So LaRue,
LaRue came after me.
Hunch, all of them.
All of them come after me.
Oh, wow. Felix Mitchell.
Felix probably before me.
Same with Tootie. Him and Tootie were in that same thing.
Yeah, I think they were in the same thing.
Yeah. I was, and looking at those black exploitation films, I was looking at it. It was funny how a lot of people don't know the first drug dealers were really the pimps. The pimps were the ones that had the drugs and the dope, and then all of a sudden it transitioned in the 80s. Would you say that was correct? Because then the dudes that were more...
I mean, even when I started, you know, my first customers was pimps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the pimps was my first customers. Nobody else had the money to buy cocaine at that time. And, you know, I used to do like little things for the pimps, like knock on the doors for the prostitutes. You know, I'd be on my bicycle. And the pimps really can't be around because the police be on them.
Yeah.
So what they would have me to do is I would go knock on the doors and make sure that the girls was okay and stuff like that there when I was coming up.
Only bad thing about it, though, is once the crack hit, it wasn't no more prostitution. You couldn't make no money off of prostitution because all the prostitutes turned into strawberries, right?
You know, they had people still making money, and they still made money.
What was one of the saddest things that you saw during the course of that life? Like, was it ever something that, like for me, I never forget when dope really hit bad, and it must have been about 84, 85, and I was a teenager, and I saw this lady walking up the street, and all the dudes start whistling, and they went to the backyard, and when they go to the backyard, we were on 58th and Buttlong, right across from the junior high school, John Muir Junior High School, and they were whistling and whistling. We go in the backyard, and the lady is giving oral sex to a German Shepherd.
Wow.
And when I saw that, my heart dropped. Me even being a kid, it was so disgusting because she was a beautiful lady, but the drugs had turned her to where she had lost whatever pride or dignity that she could ever have. And then the thing that bothered me even more than that is you got all these grown dudes that are laughing and proud of it, but I saw her as my sister or my aunt or my cousin. And I left there and I was messed up for a minute because I was mad at these dudes, but I was too little to really make a stint, but I didn't want to see it, so I walked away.
I would have did the same thing. I never saw anything like that, but I've heard about it happening. And I think it was disgusting too.
Or a lady
you know?
wanted to leave her kids with the drug dealer because she get paid on the 15th, and she wanted to leave her 2 kids with the drug dealer, and it was like, come on, man, like.
Yeah, we didn't with it. We were different than that though. We still had our dignity, and we still had love for our people. If my customers came by and they didn't have no money, I would give them some drugs.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about these are the people that made you. These are the people that brought you up. Without them, you wouldn't be nothing. So, somebody done spend money with me all week or all month or consistent customer. Of course, I would give them some extra. I believe that that's only right.
I had an uncle, and my uncle said one time to me, he said, nephew, do you want to be respected or feared? And I was like, man, I want to be respected. And he said, no, man, people fall in and out of respect all the time. You want to be feared because fear don't go nowhere. And when I was a kid, I thought about it, and I was just like, I guess he got a point, but at the same time, even fear only lasts so long.
Yeah, and then people only gonna fear you while you're there. Well, love is one of the best powers to have. When people love you, is the best. Because
when it's genuine love.
When you're not there, they still gonna love you. That love is still there, and they still going to do the things that they supposed to do for you because they love you. So Uncle was wrong.
Uncle, he was real wrong. But it's that black culture where you got to show strength and you can't show compassion. And it was the way he was taught. So just like everything else in our neighborhoods, sometimes it's a matter of bad information getting transferred into that next generation.
Yeah, so, that happens. Information that this generation thought was right and stuff that they needed to survive. There's things that in the 60s you needed to survive. If you didn't go by those rules, you wouldn't have made it.
And you couldn't show weakness, and you couldn't show fear.
But now it's a different time. We don't need the same technique. So you have to be flexible. And that's one of the things that I'm able to do. I'm able to be flexible. I can move here, move there.
What was your lowest point in your life that you would say?
When I got a life sentence and I saw my mom break down in court. It was almost like I'd stuck a dagger on my mom, like I'd almost killed her, and I understood that she was losing her best helper. She was losing somebody that she knew that if she called him at 4 a.m,
you were gonna be there.
I was gonna be there. If she needed some money and I had it, she had it. So to know that your mom is losing that, and then on top of that you literally did it to yourself. You literally took yourself away from your mom. It was hurting.
So that night that you went back to your cell and you got it, were you thinking about taking your life? Or that never was a subject?
No, I never thought about taking my life. I was thinking about escaping. I was willing to escape. I might have died trying to get away, but I wasn't going to kill myself. No.
And what's so funny that you say your mom? I remember when my mother used to work at this Frosty Freeze, and later on with this lady, and later on the lady that she worked at the Frosty Freeze on 52nd and Central, later on, the lady bought it. Her name was Fanny. Fanny was Michael and David Harris's mother. And while Mike was gone, I would talk to her, and she would always say, I'm just waiting on my baby to come home. And she was like, I'm tired. Up until her last day, she kept saying, he's going to come home, and I'm waiting for him to come home. So it's funny how you guys' lives went parallel, where that affected you. I saw firsthand from the other side how it affected the mother. What's your relationship like with your mom now?
My mom passed like 4 years ago.
Were you home when she passed?
I was here. I was out of prison. She passed in my bedroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I lost my mom. We lost her house about 6 months after I was out of prison. Her house got foreclosed on. She took one of those loans out. So it was just fortunate enough that I got myself back together enough that I had bought a place and my mom was living in my room. And she passed in my bedroom. So,
but at least you made it home to see.
Oh no, I mean it was to get that bond that we had those couple months that she was in hospice. was amazing. You know, for me to get up at night and take her to the bathroom, help her get to the bathroom, and in the end, though, it got a little bad because her body was filling up with fluid.
That's how my mother had congestive heart failure. I lost my mother.
That's what she had. Mine had the same
December
thing.
27, 2018. And I was doing the same thing as far as taking care of her. So, man, my condolences. My heart go out to you because it ain't nothing like your mama, man. You know, regardless of what transpires in your life, the consistent person that always believed in you more than you believed in yourself was your mom, man.
Yeah, she was there. My mom would come and see me by herself, would drive 100-something miles to come and visit me.
Really? By herself?
Mm-hmm. At 80 years old.
And regardless of how much time you had, she was coming to see you.
Yeah, she didn't care about the time. It wasn't the time. It was her baby, you know. And I had to tell her, Mom, if you come down here by yourself again, I ain't coming out. If I come out of here and you in here by yourself, I'm going back in. So it took a lot.
You think she was just waiting on you to come home? She was tired and was waiting on you to come home?
You know, my mom lived about 8 years while I was home. So she was still healthy when I first got out. You know, she was still doing for herself. But she started to deteriorate. She had her first stroke, and her stroke was a heart attack stroke. You know, it hit her heart. The stroke hit her heart. So
and then once it hits the heart gets weaker and weaker and weaker.
Yeah, and it kept. They couldn't keep the fluid from around her heart, and eventually she just succumbed to it.
The thing I think about is, man, how do you think your mother would have survived during this pandemic? Because my mother was real religious, so she believed that the rapture was going to come and it was going to be the end of the world. And with this whole COVID thing that has taken place, man, my mother would have been terrified. How do you think your mother would have existed?
Probably so, but my mom would have stayed. She didn't really go many places. You know, her last couple years, you know, where my house is, I got a little body shop right next to it. So she would come out of the house and go sit under this tree, and she would just watch the guys work. You know, watch my mechanics and stuff work. So she probably would have been okay, you know, long as people didn't come around, you know, we'd let them know, hey, don't get close to her. She'd have been good, I think. Because she had stopped driving. You know, it stopped her from driving.
How old was mine when she passed?
85.
Yeah, mine was 84.
Yeah, she was 85.
Yeah.
So she lived a good life, you know.
I don't care, man. This dude told me the other day, he was like, man, you know, you lost your mother when you were older. Yeah, what about them people who lose their mother when they were younger? And I was like, it ain't never a good time to lose your mama. I don't care how old you are. Nigga, it's your mama. And that's dumb for you to even compare. It ain't no comparison. Because my mother, I don't really know about nobody else's situation. I know about my situation.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just think it's beautiful that you had that relationship. And then the silver lining to me is the fact that you were able to spend that quality time with her before she left. Because Mike didn't get a chance to spend time with Fanny, and it hurt her, and I'm sure it hurt him. What's going on in your life now? What's the next chapter of Rick Ross' life? Like, what's the next chapter? I heard you got some big things going, and everybody's talking about this stuff. What's going on in your life right now?
Man, I don't know how far I'm gonna go, man. It's like, it almost seemed like, you know, I used to hear in football they were saying he's like a boy playing against men, and you know, when I look at the businesses out here, it almost looks like everybody are boys. You know, they're just not. I don't know. I guess I'm too focused. You know, I'm too dedicated. You know, being in prison, prison teaches dedication. You know, I became a vegan while I was in prison.
I see you eating the vegetarian gumbo. That's
because
the vegan gumbo, not vegetarian.
The food wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? So I could continue to eat bad food, or I could say, you know what? I'm gonna change my diet, and I'm gonna eat the stuff that is good, that's healthy for me.
But how do you get vegan options in jail, though?
Well, they always serve like beans and rice in the prison, salad.
Okay.
You know, some vegetables. You know, so what I would do is I would trade all my meat options for vegetables, and guys loved it.
It's amazing that you had the discipline to do that. The hardest thing with any decision that you make is discipline. But I guess that's a consistent part of your life, is to have the discipline to make your own choices.
Without discipline, though, there's nothing. You know, if you're not disciplined enough to say, that, okay, when I make my first $10,000, I'm not going to go spend it on something that's not going to benefit me. You know, when I make my first 10, I don't, okay, so if I invest this 10, how much I'm going to make? Because I understood at an early age that my money makes money on its own, you know, and once you start allowing your money to make money is when you really start making big money.
When you really start making big
You know, that's what
money.
they talk about. You make money when you sleep at night, because now you got other people who
But a lot of, I don't know how you learned that lesson coming up the way we came up, because that's a lesson. It's even still hard to learn, you know, especially in the culture and the way that we grew up.
Well, remember, I'm a copycat.
Yeah, but who did you see that you could copy that was making money in their sleep?
Well, once you start making money, you start to meet people. You know, people have a different tolerance level for you. You know, if people know that you got 50, 100,000, 200,000, and you ain't tripping on about it, you know, it's like, you come up with a good deal, I'm gonna buy it. So they'll start bringing you deals because they know that they're gonna get their commission, and that's really what they're after. And in the process of getting those commissions, people talk. You know, people
so they
talk
turn
about
you on the game. But then how do you decipher, since you're playing out of your field of expertise, how do you decipher what's real and what's not real? Because, you know, if they could play on your ignorance just like they could play on your strength.
Well, you got to use your common sense. You know, we've done deals. You know, I've done deals in tennis. Because trust me, tennis is a business. Even though you may not be playing for money. But it's still the aspect of it that is still business. Say, for instance, like when I was 16 years old at Dorsey High School, there was people.
I went to Dorsey too.
Yeah, right down the street.
Yeah,
I used to catch this bus going right by here every day.
What was the 105?
Was the one? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was 105. So I used to take it because we grew up on 52nd and Central. So I would take the buses over to my cousin's house. My mama, we lived on 43rd and Avalon, but then my grandmother lived on 52nd and Central. But when my mom and daddy made a little more money, we moved on the west side. And then I got a quick lesson in the difference between east side dudes and west side dudes. West side dudes had something to lose. East side dudes didn't have nothing to lose.
They didn't care.
They didn't care. They didn't have no houses. These over here, your mama owned a house, your daddy went to work, you had two parents. Over there, it was dog eat dog, man. But that taught me my strength. And then over here taught me my finesse. Because the east side dudes really didn't have the finesse. They weren't fly.
And I'm not saying that I had it all together either when I was doing it, because when I played at Dorsey, I played high school tennis at Dorsey. The coach introduced me to a guy by the name of Otis Smith.
Was it Coach Gordon? Was Gordon the coach there?
No, it was Smith.
Smith, okay.
Larry Smith.
Larry Smith.
Gordon, I think, was coaching football at that time.
Okay.
So Coach Smith hooked me up with Otis because he knew I needed money. So Otis had a young kid that he was raising to be a tennis star. So they would pay me $20 an hour to go out and hit tennis balls with his son.
Oh.
So they literally paying me something. They paying me to do something that I love to do anyway.
Oh, so you would have done it anyway, yeah.
I would have done it anyway for free. And then they would buy me
Where did you
tennis
pick
shoes.
up tennis from, though? Because that ain't no sport that, nigga, we walk past them tennis courts every day at Dorsey. And we would go to the pool and play in the pool. We go to play football. We go to the gym, play basketball. Tennis wasn't nothing that, it's kind of like swimming. You never thought about joining the swim team at Dorsey. How did you choose tennis of all sports?
Well, I didn't start at Dorsey. I started at Manchester Park. It was this guy came by, and we were roller derbying on the tennis courts. And he wanted to know if we could hit the ball in the box. And he told us if we did, he'd give us a quarter, you know.
Oh, wow.
And we all kicked off our skates and we was trying to hit the ball in that box.
Of course.
And that's literally how we got started. And it went from there to just falling in love with it. And
That's crazy.
And like I said, tennis gave me a lot of opportunities, but I didn't know how to capitalize on them. You know, like this guy Otis used to pick me up in a Rolls Royce from Dorsey High School.
He picked you up in a Rolls Royce?
A convertible Rolls Royce. He had a convertible Rolls Royce in the 70s.
Oh, shoot. So he had the bag.
Black guy.
But if he was able to pay you $20, what was 20 an hour?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, he had a bag back then because that was a lot of money back then. I know, shoot. People wasn't even making that kind of money on the job.
And bought me tennis shoes and records.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
But see, I was so young and naive, I never imagined what he did for a living.
To this day, you don't know what he did?
Oh, I know what he did. I found out later.
Was he a hustler?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
He was in the record business. He used to own Beverly Glen Music.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's the guy that found Anita Baker.
Oh, wow.
Anita Baker. I think he found Johnny Taylor. He found Rick James.
Oh, he found Rick too?
Yeah. He was the vice president of Motown Records.
Oh, wow. That's
before he
crazy.
started his own label.
Oh, that's crazy. And you were working with him and didn't even know.
Didn't know. You know, so it's showing you how opportunities can literally fall through our hands
because we don't ask those questions. Have you ever been in a situation where you ignored your gut for what you wanted? Sometimes life presents us stuff to where we ignore what we see for what we want, and we want the win at any cost. Have you ever had situations in your life like that?
All the time. You know, I mean, them situations come. I'm in one right now almost, you know. Right now I'm building a 44,000 square foot marijuana grow.
Wow. Are you doing it all on your own? Or you have investors?
Not yet. I don't have investors yet. The opportunity came, and they was like, you got to do it right now. You got to do it right now. And literally, they wanted all my money. Almost every penny I had to do this deal. My gut was saying,
don't do it.
Well, on one sense, it was saying you can't pass this deal up. Then on the other hand, it was saying you ain't got enough money to do this deal. This deal is bigger than you. It's too big. Don't do it. Lucky for me, I took the chance, and you know, I'm doing pretty good with it right now. You know, I'm still doing the bill out, but I do have a potential investor right now. Just talking about coming up, putting up all the rest of the money. But that's one time just recently that I went with my gut.
But it happens all the time that we find ourselves in situations where we ignore the obvious for what we want. And sometimes it works out in our best interest, and then sometimes it kicks our ass, whether it be a woman, whether it be business, whether it be anything.
Well, you know, what I learned in life, though, we're going to make mistakes. You know, mistakes is something that I think they say Thomas Edison missed the light bulb 1,000 times before he finally got it right. So we don't judge ourselves about our mistakes. It was funny. We run
Babe Ruth had a bunch of strikeouts, so it just depends on perspective.
Exactly. We run a tennis camp over at Harvard Park. Me and one of my high school buddies, he played at Dorsey with me, and we're teaching kids. And one of the things that he told me the other day, he did a reading from Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan said he's missed 9,000 shots through his career. Mm-hmm. He's taken 23 game-winning shots and missed them.
Oh, wow.
But he didn't let those things stop him from taking those shots. He kept taking those shots. And he's still considered the greatest basketball player of all times. So what that's saying is that no matter how good you are, you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to miss some.
And I read somewhere the other day, it said it's not what happens to you, but it's what happens inside of you. So
how you deal with it.
How you adjust. Yeah, and how you adjust. And what sinks the ship isn't what's inside. It's when you allow what's on the outside to get in. And I think it's the same way in life. Like, man, when you lose, you're not a loser. You just lost. And what's the lesson you need to learn from that loss?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. What's the lesson you need to learn from that loss? If you could, looking back, if you could do it all over again, would you have still done it the same way?
No, I wouldn't. And I don't really deal with hindsight. You know, I don't really like dealing with hindsight because anything I would have did.
Hindsight is, they say, what do they say? Hindsight is 20/20. I've been praying lately because I want insight. But insight ain't 20/20, bro.
I look at it like this here. Anything that I would have done back then, I do it right now. Because I still have my life, I'm still healthy, and I can still do the things that I want to do. One of the things I did when I was in prison is I said, before you allowed your community to mold you. So I was made by the community.
You're a product of South Central.
Of South Central, yeah. Those guys told me that I should be a drug dealer. They told me that selling drugs was fly. I never came up with that idea.
They told you that along with those movies and those other things that subliminally put stuff in your mind, because where you had the black exploitation films, I had, when I'm in high school, you got X-Clan, you got Public Enemy, and you got all these people like Fight the Power and Proud to be Black. Then all of a sudden, what hit the scene? Gangster rap. So then when gangster rap hit the scene, we didn't want to be X-Clan, talk with wood medallions on. We wanted the gold chains. We wanted the whole perspective. So it's funny how the same conditions that led to the Watts riots were the same conditions that led to the LA civil unrest. But it's all connected.
Absolutely.
And it's bigger than you and me. And whatever is the ones that are influencing us, whatever's influencing us or controlling us, that's what people want control of, because that's power. If you can control young black men in our society, you're in a powerful position.
And if they ever learn the strength that they have,
in unity,
I'm gonna be amazed,
But I think that's where Nipsey was going, man. And the beautiful thing about it is, I never forget, I told Tupac, we were at the House of Blues, and I told Pac, I said, man, you sold 5 million albums. If you could get 5 million votes, you in the White House, Brody. I was like, man, but everything that come out of your mouth, you're in a position that most preachers, teachers, and politicians want to be in. You got the children of America listening to everything that come out of your mouth. But with that comes responsibility. And Pac was like, come on, Reverend Jaime. Like, you doing too much, man. Like, man, we'll talk about this later. You messing up my high. You see these women out here? And I was like, man, it ain't going to always be about that. And then 6 months later, he was gone. So wow. It's just funny. The same life that Tupac was promoting, and he talked about his adversities and his success, it felt like Nipsey was building on top of that. And he was trying to do things different to unify the community and to do everything else. And it's just funny how his life got cut short.
Well, in South Central, you really have to know how to live. Because there are certain things that if you do in South Central will cut your life short.
How'd you deal with that hatred? Because I know when you had that bag, I'm sure it was Negroes trying to kidnap you. They was trying to figure out how to get to you, how to rob you. Because, man, even on the smaller level, they still doing it. How did you deal with that kind of shit?
Well, what I always try to do is I try not to outshine them. I try to stay down on a level where you can see eye to eye. Because people have a tendency when you're shining on them to dislike you. But when I have a thing that I give people, and it's like I give them an uplifting. When I meet them, I treat them as if they are God, because in my eyes they are gods. We're one of God's finest creations. So whenever I meet somebody, I always try to give them the utmost respect. And what I found out is when you do that, they give it back. And it's hard for somebody to kill somebody that's giving them respect, that's showing them homage, so.
What do you say to these people that talk shit about you? Like, it's a whole bunch of people that have their opinions of who you are and don't know you. I never forget, one of my closest friends told me, never judge a man based on your relationship with that man, not on anybody else's relationship on that man. What do you say about people that in the culture say things negative about you?
Well, they got the right to do that.
It doesn't bother you when it's not true?
It don't matter if it's true or not. For somebody to be focused on my life, meaning that they missing something on their own. Because I don't have the time to be judging no other man. My mission is so big and so important that what you're doing is your business, and I'm going to leave it your business. I'm not going to make it mine.
And I'm going to mind my business.
And if you make my business your business, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Hopefully you help me do some of this shit that I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I was thinking about you, and I was like, man, I was watching this cat the other day, and this dude had a cat in his hand, and no matter how close to the ground he dropped the cat, the cat always landed on his feet. And I was like, what kind of mechanism is in this cat that as soon as you drop it, it'll flip over and it lands on his feet? And then I thought about you. It seems like regardless of whatever situations you found yourself in, and I'm sure it wasn't instantly, but you always came out on top.
Well, it's important that in whatever situation we go in, we look for ways to flourish. Say, for instance, when I was in prison, and I was looking out at the world through my little small window, and I'm reading a lot of newspapers, a lot of magazines every day. So I'm seeing the guys out here who are flourishing, who are moving the bar.
Yeah.
And I wanted to compete against them. I wanted to be in that rank. And my mind started racing. What can you beat them doing? How can you be better than them?
How can you compete?
And one of the things that came to me was that I could outread them. So what I did is I started reading everything I got my hand on business related. And I'm just now getting in a position to where I can start exercising some of the things
that you learned,
that I learned from those books. When, like I said, when I got out, my mom was losing her house. So my first mission was to save her house. Not to put my plans in motion. My plans became second to your mama finna be homeless.
Yeah.
Mom's homeless.
And at this age, at this time in her life, man, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen, because she should just be enjoying and cruising off into the sunset. She shouldn't have to deal with that.
Exactly.
And then it makes you feel sort of like a failure as a man when you find yourself in that situation.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It's
and
your
my mama, she was cold. She'd tell you that.
Oh, she would tell you that? She would tell you that?
Boy, I'm losing my house. You ain't did nothing.
Oh, wow. And you just came home because how long did you actually sit?
I did 20 years.
Oh, you did 20?
Yeah.
From the time that you were about to buy this thing on Crenshaw and Adams, you went to jail then and you sat for 20 years?
Well, I had bought that when I first went to prison.
Oh, I thought you were in the process of buying it.
I bought that before I went to prison.
Yeah.
I bought it. When I bought that, I was on the run, but I wanted it so bad that I still went on and bought it. And I went to prison. I got out for 6 months. And then my partner set me up again. And I went back to prison. So with both of those bits, 6-month break, I was in prison.
Oh, wow. And the same dude hit you twice. But
some of my homeboys on my block got me.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
People that you were taking care of?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the worst.
Some of my neighbors.
That's
next door neighbors.
Because you were competition. So they saw you. But
no,
then
we wasn't competition.
But it goes back to what you said. You were saying if you saw people as a man and it was, you treated people a certain way and you didn't outshine them, but even though you didn't outshine them, the niggas was still hating on you.
Well, they offered them 45 years in prison. And they was about 19 years old.
45 years on dope?
Yeah. You can get a life sentence for cocaine.
Oh, wow.
So these guys are 19 years old. They talking about they're going to give them 45 years. These kids can't fantasize that. To think about it, it's terrifying. So they traded their 45 years for me.
Oh, wow. So, yeah. So you understand why they made that choice?
Absolutely. A lot of people make that choice. Ain't unusual.
Yeah.
Just like Danilo Blandon, my supplier. When I got out in 93, which is what I think you're talking about, I was working on the theater.
I remember 93. That's when we were
and that's when he set me up. Same situation. He got caught with 10,000 keys. He told me they was going to give him a double life sentence. And, he made a deal to turn me in.
Oh, wow. Wow. And that's crazy. So then when you tell me this, then, I know our time is limited, but when you see movies like John Singleton's TV show, Snowfall, and you see that depiction. And a lot of people say that it's Whitey's story. Some people say that it's Waterhead Bo's story. And then the majority of them say it's your story. What do you think about that?
Well, I never watched the show. You know, I was working with John when he right before he came out with Snowfall. You know, he was supposed to be helping me direct my movie. And all of a sudden he disappeared. And he wasn't answering his phone.
But were you telling them stuff about your life?
Yeah, well, he bought one of my first books. He bought one. If you go to his page, it's still on his page. It's a picture of me and him holding a book. And you know, I didn't go on the internet back then. You know, I wasn't an internet, still not an internet person.
Man, you can't be no businessman, bro, and not be on the internet now. Like, you got to get on there to promote whatever it is.
Well, I have people on there now.
Okay.
Then I didn't have the money to afford to have nobody on there for me. So when Snowfall came out, though, people shot me the post that he did. He said, Freeway Rick Ross, great story. Snowfall coming soon.
So you still have that?
It's still on his page.
Oh, it's still on his page to this day?
Yeah.
So do you get some money from it?
Mm-mm. I saw him about 3 months before he died at a Red Grant party. And, you know, he told me, I got some money for you and I want to hire you as a consultant.
Because we were told he was paying you as a consultant. So you never had that gig.
No.
So there's no repercussions to it? You can't go or the juice ain't worth the squeeze?
I don't know. You know, right now my stuff is going so well. You know, I went to 2 lawsuits when I got home. I was fighting a rapper who stole my name, and then I was also fighting to save my mom's house.
And it's just so funny how that rapper stole a name, and then the other rapper, he stole a name from a drug dealer on the East Coast, and he created the whole persona of that. And it's just funny how both of them took success from taking someone else's name.
Yeah, so I went through those 2 lawsuits, and
you just got tired of it.
The one with the rapper wasn't supposed to cost me any money, but it wound up costing me money.
Have you ran into him?
Nah.
You've never been in the same space with him?
Only when we sued him.
But he's never been out. Because I know for a while when you first came home, you was moving around town. You never caught up with him.
Still moving around.
Yeah. I mean, we older now, so we ain't in them clubs. Because you go to the clubs now, the kids is 20, all the time. They 20 years old.
And they pay me to go to clubs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get paid to host some host parties. So I go there and take pictures.
And you don't drink, though?
You don't have to drink to go to the club.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? I just go there and take pictures.
Most people drink at the club because they don't want to be there. So it's the way they deal with doing something that they don't want to do.
And talk to everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because that's really what
how's the clothing line doing?
It's doing okay, you know.
You're not pressing anymore. I saw for a while you had people that were pressing up stuff because I wanted you to. I wanted one of them T-shirts that had the 110 on it. The 110 was a dope sweatshirt that I saw on something that you had on it. It said, let's say 110 something.
Yeah, I ain't printed that one up yet.
You never printed it up?
A young lady out of Hawaii created that for me. So we're trying to come up with some terms so that I can mass produce it.
I think 110 is just like how Nipsey came up with Crenshaw. Crenshaw goes through so many different neighborhoods that a lot of people rock Crenshaw, whether they're Crips or Bloods, because Crenshaw, you ride the bus down Crenshaw, you're going to hit all kind of different neighborhoods. But it's the same thing with that 110. Mm-hmm. Off that 110 freeway, which was your claim to fame, is, you get off on Manchester, you in the hood. You get off on Florence, you in the hood. You get off on Imperial, Rosecrans, you name it. So I think it's a clever thing.
Yeah, I want to do that shirt. A lot of people been asking about it.
And especially in that royal blue, that joker was fly. I saw it. I was like, man, that joker was fly.
Oh, you remember that joint?
Oh, man, that joker was fly. And I thought I was going to be able to hit you to tell you, nigga, I need that sweatshirt. But I didn't know you hadn't even produced them yet. You ain't even sold them yet.
No, that was one of a kind. She just did that one straight off for me. And me and her been, negotiating on the terms to mass produce.
So, in conclusion.
So, we waiting on it. We're gonna put it together.
In conclusion, where you go from here?
I don't know,
What
man.
puts you to sleep at night with peace of mind?
Well, last night was really touching for me. My daughter had a sore throat, and in my house, if you stomp your toe, it's COVID.
Yeah, that's in everybody's house in the world because you just don't know.
So she had a sore throat. So about 11:30, she was like, "Dad, I can't sleep." She's 8 years old. Said, "Dad, I can't sleep. I want to go to the doctor." And I did me a couple edibles. I do them edibles. So I did me a couple edibles before she had told me she wanted to go to the doctor.
So you were super relaxed.
Yeah, I was like chill, get in the bed, finna turn on the TV, watch me some Don Lemon on CNN and some Chris Como, and listen to them talk they shit.
Yeah.
And she woke me up. Not woke me up because I wasn't asleep, but she told me. So I got up. They took her to the doctor. And I don't know if you know now, when you go to the hospitals now, you don't go inside the hospital. You sit outside up under a tent-like thing. But for me, man, it was one of the greatest experiences I ever had. I've never raised kids before, my own kids. And it got a little chilly. So, she had a little teddy bear. So she took her teddy bear and she put her teddy bear in my chest and she put her head in my chest and we was laying there and I was trying to cover her up and keep her warm. And I was like, wow, there's no place in the whole world I'd rather be than right here, right now with her. And to think of that, I wouldn't trade the whole world. I wouldn't trade the whole world for those moments like those,
And to also realize those moments that you miss with your other children.
Absolutely.
So it makes it even more valuable when you actually had an opportunity to have that moment.
So, I don't know. Like I said earlier, though, they can't mess with me. The movie's financed now. The script's okay.
Who you got playing you?
You have to ask Kim Hardy. She told me don't pick nobody. I done did it before in interviews too. She got mad. Rick, I told you don't be saying that.
That's hilarious because everybody wants somebody to play them that's just that guy. Like I remember back in the day, everybody wanted Denzel to play them. So I was just curious as to who you thought.
Kim has gave so many people they start, in Hollywood that I believe that. She's gonna pick the right person.
Did you choose a director too? To tell your
Reginald
story?
Hutland.
Oh, Reginald. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Reginald is gonna direct.
But they had a movie out with you before that Glenn Plummer played you.
Yeah, my partner.
Yeah, Glenn is a good dude, man. Like they had Glenn Plummer play you, but it just was a low budget film. It didn't have a big budget, so.
Yeah, I told him don't do it.
Yeah. Oh, you did tell him don't do it. Did you get money off that film?
Mm-mm.
So people tell your story and you can't get paid off your story?
Man, I've been getting robbed so much. The documentary that's on, that stayed on Netflix for a year and a half. They took that from me. They took me to court and took that.
They took it from me.
They said we had a secret meeting in the back office, and I verbally agreed that the contract I had was voided.
Who does that?
And then they had one of my partners who I brought onto the piece who switched up on me as African, and he said he heard me say that I didn't want no money out of the project.
How you protect yourself from that man?
Well, you know what? It's. I'm gonna tell you a secret. I don't work for money. I don't care about the money. I want the work. Give me the work. You give me the work, the money gonna come.
You'll always make the money. Yeah.
Yeah, the money gonna come.
Yeah.
The ones who ain't got no money is the ones who ain't working.
You're right.
So I don't let the money. The money is not my God. So many people they worship the money. No, I understand that money is a tool, and just like if you framing a house, you need hammers and nails. So when you're out here in these streets, you're trying to do stuff. You need money, but money can't be the whole object. You know, if they take me back to court and they take this movie from me, I ain't jumping off no bridges.
So in closing, man, I appreciate you spending this time with us in the huddle. In conclusion, what can we expect from you? Besides, I know it's the movie. What else is something special?
Man, I'm gonna do
that's going
stuff.
on?
I got some stuff planned for Black people. That I want to go down in history. I want to be looked at like Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali.
Especially how Malcolm's story started out, where he was incarcerated.
We start off the same way.
Yeah.
But when I read his book, I noticed that I was in front of Malcolm before he met Malcolm X. The day he met Malcolm X, I was further along in my life journey than Malcolm was. Malcolm was a petty criminal. Had been using drugs. And I took a lot of stuff out of his book that I used for myself.
I thought it was one of the greatest books that I've ever read.
Me too.
Funny about it, though, is the two books that I read when I was in high school that I thought, college, was the Monster Cody book and the book that the Malcolm X book. I just think they were just great depictions of the life that I experienced. Just like Boys in the Hood. I thought Boys in the Hood was an accurate assessment of life growing up in South Central Los Angeles. Yeah. But I think
I love Malcolm's book. Malcolm's book helped me out so much that I don't know if I can ever repay him. Or
you can repay him by doing the same as he did and changing people's lives. And I think you're already on the road to making that adjustment. Now it's just up to you how you do it. But I love the fact that you do interviews, and I even appreciate the fact that, my podcast ain't even nothing, but the fact that I can make a call and you will take the time to spend time with me, man, I salute you for that. Because most people be like, man, that's too little time. I don't do something like for that.
Well, when I bring my boxers in and get their Rolex watches and their gold chains, you give us a deal.
I got you. I want that rapper of yours. I saw a rapper that you got, and I was trying to get you to talk about him, but I saw a rapper you got, and he got some heat. I think he might have next.
Yeah, I just signed a kid. He's nice.
Your girl sent me a copy of it.
Yeah, I'm excited about him, and he's here from LA too.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you coming to hang out with me.
Thank you. Thanks for the meal too.